Hey, mister, how are you?
Great. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm good, man. I'm admittedly medicated and, doing, I haven't taken any antibiotics yet. So, I have a sinus infection full on, and I'm doing
Yeah.
everything I can to not take antibiotics so that I can let my body, work it,
Mhm.
because the problem with antibiotics is if you keep using them, right?
Yes.
So this is my third week. I'm not thrilled about it. Highest energy wins, so I'm just choosing to push through it and get the rest when I need it. Like I've been napping, been going to bed at like 6 p.m., getting up at 8, staying up for 2 hours, then going back to bed at 10, and then waking up early the next morning. And so it is what it is, man. I've got big goals, and admittedly, my mojo isn't as good as it usually is. But it is what it is. How about you? How's the official first week been?
I was gonna say I appreciate you taking the time still, and I hope you're feeling better soon. But no, this is great. um, First week officially was awesome. So closed a few four, I think, four sales. One was a girl paid in full, so she was really excited. I was gonna tell you today. So Thursday's my first day of the week, so I had three calls.
Right.
First one, first one, literally like I wanted to shut you out because, like, again, more dojo. Like, she, just the confidence, really. Like, she was, she wanted to do it, and she it's everything we went over yesterday. Like, she was nervous about, I want to do this, but I just need some time to think about it.
Yeah.
Was the first thing she came up with. So literally, like, dissect that. It's like, what do you need to think about? Like, oh, this is a big decision. Like, okay, so is it the money or what? And she's like, oh, it was a lot of limiting beliefs for her. Like, she didn't
Sure.
believe in herself and her confidence. So just sticking with her, and then I turned to my dojo notes, and because you could tell she was interested, but she kept, like, every time I was insinuating the sale, and then she's like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, well, like, hey, Brandy, like, you agreed that you came to Xander for a reason, right? He can help you do this. And then she's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, and you know that, like, you need that coach and that support system on your side to grow your business, right? She's like, yeah, I do. And then it's like, well, like, what do we want to think about here? You're not going to get there by just thinking about this. And she's
Yeah.
like, I know. And like, but it was little, it must have been 15 asks, Joe. Like, let's get you started right now. Like, okay. But, like, oh, my family, like, they're going to be scared if I invest in myself. Like, just a lot of limiting beliefs and fear,
Yeah.
but the confidence. So thank you and all that. And then second girl, Valeria, she was awesome. She's excited. She didn't have many objections. She was more so concerned about the time because she's in another program. And then money kind of came up, but again, just isolating, asking the questions, like, using what they said on the call, all of that stuff. So all of the dojo stuff is paying off amazingly, and the confidence is high. So thank you again. It's awesome.
I'm really glad. That's great. That's absolutely great. For me, the beauty of it, and I get fired up, talking with people like you and Courtney and Chris and Colin, and I've got Leslie, John, Isaac, Dan, just going over the list of names, James, Michael, Nathan. I mean, there's tons of people, right? And it's so much fun to see people progress. For me, that's like the culture of progress that I want to have within the people that I'm around. And Chris is Chris Fougere is a business partner of mine, yet he's still in the dojo. The one challenge that we have, and I've been bugging Shauna about this, like, from the get go, is I said, you know what, you should be in the dojo. But as you probably know, when you're that close to someone, and I was a personal trainer, like, literally like 2.5 decades ago, before personal training was even a thing. And my ex-wife would never take that advice from me. Whereas Shauna, to her credit, she would say, hey, you know what, can you put me a program together? And just recently, she bought a program from someone else because I do the program for free. And then I said, you know what? I said, maybe you should buy yourself your own program instead of me doing it, because you're not taking my accountability that serious.
Mhm.
And now she's on a program, and wow. So accountability plays such a huge factor, because it's not that she doesn't want to let me down, and she definitely wants to be attractive, It's just where her headspace and whatever that limiting belief is. And you're so correct.
Mhm.
It's so correct. So to watch people like you literally progress and improve and grow. And I have to say, I don't know if you watched the replay.
Good.
Yesterday's dojo. I don't know if you, when you see the replay, do you see all of the, do you see the gallery view, or do you just see one screen?
All four, I believe. I watched it this morning. I forget
Okay.
that you asked.
What I love, and again, kudos to you, man. And I reacted. You know which part I'm talking about. Like you went in for the kill, and listen. That is a skill. It's a learned skill, and it is something that I want to make abundantly clear. Don't stop what you're doing. Like my intention yesterday, because I thought about this after the call. My intention yesterday wasn't to stop you. You didn't do anything wrong. My approach was, hey, let's just do a light course correction because you're on the right path. I don't know if you saw the way that Courtney and Colin reacted, and I caught it right away. And so I made the move because, again, you got to not only listen, you've got to pay attention to all the surroundings, right? This is just an added bonus for you, because the one reason why I prefer doing this over just this is precisely what had happened at that moment. The reaction from both Courtney and Colin, which they both smiled, but they both like put their heads back, right? And it was as if, you were in there and you went, right? Because you were going in, like you were going in for the close. That's part of your job. That's our job as for all of us. And the last thing I want to do is dissuade you from doing such a fantastic job and going for the close. Because as you just said, hey, I went for the close. I must have had 15 objections this time around, and you built up the confidence to do that. Who Connor was 3 months ago, as opposed to who Connor is today, is a different guy. I mean, you're still the essence of you is there. You've just been able to flourish, and that just touches me. I get fired up for it. And in regards to that, I'm going over the notes and putting everything together here. And there's part of this that if you can see in the back, there's the why Xander, but there's also, like, it's important for you to remember there's why Connor. Like, this is, and the reason is that you become, not just like Xander, you become the trusted advisor. And the other part that's really important for you to remember, my friend, is you're the expert. And the reason that you're the expert is because you work in the position that you work in. Like, nobody's going to question, well, how long you've been working for Xander. And even if they do, you've earned the right to be there, because Xander's not going to bring just anybody to the game. He's going to play. He wants an A team. Cahal wants an A team, right? So when I'm like, part of my job is to help boost you up, and you know that I'm going to be authentic. Like, the last thing that I'm going to be is a bullshitter. I'm only going to tell people the truth, and it's my truth, and I want that truth to be your truth. When I say that you're an expert, you're there, Connor. Like, you're there, and now the great thing about it, and I'm confident enough to say that, like, I want you to be in the SOS dojo in the next one, and we're going to work it together as a hybrid for at least the first 2 or 3 dojos, and then I'm just going to back off and let you keep running, because that's, you're going to shadow me, and then you're going to take over, and we're going to work it, and we're going to have some fun. And part of that is understanding what we're doing here. So what I do during Army of One, every time I reconnect with people, is I like to do a quick review. So we're going to do a quick review, you and I, right now. I'm just going to unplug the laptop. When I do these events live, I usually, I give people, like, we do some of these, like, they're full 8-hour, 10-hour days, and I'm draining people, right? They're literally immersed in it. And I mean, I'm cramming a whole bunch of stuff. But they got to take breaks. You got to take pee breaks. You got to have lunch breaks. You got to have snack breaks and all that kind of stuff. Networking breaks. And when I get people back, I get people in groups of generally 4 to 6, and I get them to take out their notes and just banter in terms of what they learned so far, right from the beginning all the way until now. So I'm just going to banter with you, and we'll have a quick conversation. And the cool thing about accelerated learning, there's a reason why I use a whole bunch of color. And I'm telling you this just to add extra flavor to you in terms of the training. If ever you start doing this kind of stuff yourself, I learned from a guy, I learned from a couple of trainers. I took a train-to-trainer course. It got to be at least 20 years ago. And what I learned was the accelerated learning process. We have visual learning, we have auditory nerve learning, and we have kinesthetic learning, right? Women tend to be more kinesthetic. They feel. Men tend to be more visual. So the reason that I have different colors is for that reason, to be able to help you, retain not only in your conscious, but also in your subconscious mind, so that you go and grab it. Repetition is just like in the dojo, is the road to mastery. So I'm going over stuff just to hammer it home. And the beauty of the review is the review doesn't have to be in any particular order. I love this part because I can just go quickly over some of the stuff that we talked about. And you just mentioned limiting beliefs. I told you earlier that when you believe, you've got tons of power. This is part of this was the second piece. The first piece is we talked about your why, which I'll get to in a sec, because your why is huge. We talked a little bit about off topic. We had gone into the jar system and the benefits of spending some money and having some fun using your 10% play jar. It's something that I'm a big believer in. Playing your A game. You've got to play your A game. Not only to acknowledge everything that you hear, but also being the authority. And I added this right before you got on the call, and it's highest energy wins. That's part of playing your A game. And the energy that you bring to the table is such where it's the classic story. I can use Star Wars as the example. It comes down to, you obviously saw the latest Star Wars movie, the last one?
I'm not a Star Wars person.
You didn't?
No, I haven't watched any of them.
All right, so let me ask you: is there a movie or a story, have you read the Odyssey, Homer, the Odyssey?
Yeah, I struggled through Greek mythology in school. Yes.
Okay, or the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
You seen the Matrix?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, ultimately, there's always good and there's evil, right? There's pain and there's pleasure. There's positive and negative sources of energy. And whatever has the highest level of energy, whether it's positive energy or negative energy, highest energy always wins. Mm-hmm. And so you can run into people where they're like curmudgeon, they're negative, and if they got a lot of negativity to the table, they can drag you down. It's our responsibility as salespeople to, enthusiasm is something that you have to bring to the table all the time. And there's a great book that's called The 4 Agreements. Okay. I don't know if you've ever heard of Don Miguel Ruiz.
Nope.
He's a wonderful writer. He wrote The Mastery of Love, but The 4 Agreements is a very popular book. In fact, I might even have a copy of it here still. I mean, yeah, I do. That's The 4 Agreements.
Okay.
Okay. I've probably given out 20 copies of this book to people, and it's outstanding. And what I love about The 4 Agreements is you make 4 agreements with yourself. Don Miguel Ruiz is a Toltec shaman. He's basically the Inca or Mexican Toltec shaman. And the 4 agreements are, I mean, I'm going over the list now. The one that the one agreement that I'm a big believer in is always do your best.
Mm-hmm. I've heard you say that.
And my best today isn't necessarily going to be the best like I had, a month ago when I didn't have this, sinus pressure going on. yet I'm still going to bring my A game. And I make a commitment to you to bring the A game every time I'm going to be live with people.
Yep.
When you always do your best, and the fact that now it's going to drive me bananas because, you know, here's Joe with his OCD.
Before.
You know, it's the code of conduct. So I have to be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. That's a big one. And then always do your best. And if you read this book, I tell you what, game changing. Craig just recently talked about it, which I thought it was great.
Awesome.
Let's keep doing the review.
Well, going back to the energy there real quick, Joe, and I know we've talked about it in the dojo. It's totally like once you start getting those objections, and I remember in the past, like that, you know, you start feeling it and you're like, oh shoot, like, you know, you get it in your gut and it's like, oh, they're not going to sign up. Oh, and so that's where you need to, like, the confidence is, for me, it's not even like you hear them, but you acknowledge and you ask a question and you help them realize that, you know, you need to have the higher energy than them. Like the first girl, the Brandy girl, the first 4 or 5, it was like not sounding like it was happening. And I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I might have to, you know, try and get a deposit from her or something. And then just like keeping the energy up, you're so right. The highest energy wins. And then it gets to the point where like my enthusiasm was back and like, you know, I was like, we can do this. Let's get you started. Like just imply the sale, like keep the throttle down and help her through all that. So that energy, it's totally.
This is without question, massive.
That's where I can feel the confidence. It's like, you know, you get to the objections and you know, 6K, and then every time it goes silent and something's coming in. Very rarely do they, maybe 1 in 10 where it's like, okay, yep, let's go. You know, most of the time there's something, right? So you got to keep that energy up. And before you get a little scared, you get a little nervous, what are they going to say? But now it's like, my notes are there. I've got the dojo experience. It's, you know, let's do this. It's almost like, what do you got?
And that's what's great, not only about the dojo training, which is, again, it's ongoing. Do you, to talk, again, I just want to try to give you as much value as possible. What do you do before an actual sales call? Do you do something to help manifest the state that you need to be in so you can hammer?
I usually read, so I've listened to the pre-call and then I've made a couple notes. And then I read the notes that I've made and then just do a couple affirmations of like, there's a mirror actually right beside. So it's things that I got from Xander. Like, I am the change that so-and-so needs. I'm the leader they are looking for right now and they need me. I will show up each and every day because it's not about me. It never was and it never will be. So like shifting your state to focus on them. Any call reluctance like is pretty much gone at this point anyways, of nerves or anything like that. Like it's genuinely, I'm excited. Like what's, you know, what can we dig into the problem here and we can help them. So shifting that energy for sure. And then, just the nerves aren't even really there as much like as before. Feel some pressure of like, oh, because you see the whole process of where a lead comes in and then it finishes with you, what everyone's done to get to that point. And it's like, all right, team's depending on me here, but it's an exciting opportunity too, because you can.
It's massive. It's massive. So one of the things that, again, like you've heard me say countless times, take my information like spare ribs, keep the meat, throw away the bone. Tony Robbins has been able to teach so many thousands of people about state. You want to change your state. You know, it's one thing to be like, I'm seated. It's another thing to be standing. In my new office, I'm going to have a standing area. What I do before I get on calls is I move. If I'm just on the phone, my headset's on. Like, I had a phone call. I made a. It's not a cold call, but I haven't talked to these guys literally in months, and I closed them on Army of One on a deal that they got, that like they left a deposit for me back in December, and I called them today and I closed the deal like full price that I had previously.
Awesome.
And cold call, right? Like, they weren't expecting the call, no appointment, nothing, and you know, it was like bang, and now I'm sending them my PayPal, so that there's $5,000, right? And what I do before I get on the call, and it's just something that you could consider, like, I've seen Xander talk about this where, you know, like he does the Visa or MasterCard, jumping up and down. That's a state change.
Mhm.
In fact, what I do when I do a live event, and again, I don't know what's going to be happening with Craig, or because I think he's moved the Unstoppable Mastermind from Toronto. I think he's moved it down to San Diego.
I saw that
In October. So I was kind of surprised to see that. I don't know if he still plans on having me speak at it or whatever. I mean, it's in October. I don't know what's happening with the border and travel. I'll worry about that when the time comes.
Mhm.
The point is that I'm a big believer in doing state changes. A state change, whether it's for me or it's for the people in my audience. So, and you're gonna, again, I want you to think about stepping out of your comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
I've shown you this before. We're gonna do things right now that's just gonna step out of your comfort zone. So if I stand up and right before a phone call, I'll literally like go, right? And I'm hearing applause, and the applause is for me, right? And that energy, right, permeates. Then I get on the call, right? And I do that. I do that hand slap often. In fact, at the end of the call, you and I, at the end of the call, not only did we do that, but I don't know if you saw where you crushed it, and I'm stoked for you, and I'm like, awesome.
Yeah, I do remember.
I don't know if you noticed that, but I picked up on it. I said, like, I just instantly went high energy state change.
Yep.
And the benefit of that is it permeates for you onto your next call. So keep doing what you're doing, but honestly, just try. Shauna hears me do it all the time. My daughter, Simone, who when she was living here just like a month ago, and for years prior to that, she knew that I was about to get on a call. I didn't have to tell anybody because they knew I would talk out loud to myself, be like, all right, Joe, we got this. We got this. Yeah. Like, and they knew everybody around, which is okay, get out of the way. Papa's about to start or Joe's about to start. And I'm firing myself up. Tony Robbins is a believer and example of the rebounder. It's the mini trampoline. You ever seen those like 3-foot trampolines that you see people use in offices? There's a whole bunch of health benefits to go along with that. There's the cascading effect for your lymphatic system. In fact, I should be using one right now with everything on the sinus type of things. And I sold them. I sold them in my fitness store. Anyways, the bouncing up and down, like, and this is the Xander piece where he's jumping up and down. It brings back memories of happy, like it's just happy energy. Like when you're jumping up and down, you can't be negative. It's like smelling citrus. There's another example. You can't be angry when you smell an orange or a lemon or a lime. Think of it. Those are happy smells. So use the technology that we know of to impact yourself so that you can impact others. Like I've shown smell technology to retailers, and they will actually put in, and there's companies that do this now where there's certain scents that will permeate the store and without changing anything other than smell.
Yeah.
And absolutely. So it's no different than if you're going to put your house up for sale, what do they tell you to do?
Cookies.
Coffee, bread, cookies, right?
Yep.
If this is a way to bring you into some of the most fondest memories of your life, doesn't it make sense then? What do I need to do to be able to have positive energy when I bring it to the phone call?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's great.
So yeah, what I do in a live event, for example, is I would say, okay, I would literally, like if people are sitting down and they're not in partners, I would literally say, okay, everybody out of your seats. And then I would just say, okay, go find a partner. And if it's a big group, find somebody you don't know, because I want to make a point of everybody networking. And then, if Shauna's in the room, because she's seen me do this several times, I make a point. Does everybody have a partner? Does anybody not have a partner? If you don't have a partner, I line people up, I get them together, and then I get them to do an exercise And like if it's an SOS workshop, they're doing an objection exercise, and it just, the energy when you're standing. So on a phone call, I'm hoping that you're standing up as opposed to sitting down.
I've still got, you should see my setup, but I've got my notes everywhere. So honestly, my setup is on the edge of the bed, and it's kneeling. And then when I have breaks, I do pop up a little bit too, but I'm making a lot of notes right now. So.
And again, like the, have you seen those Very desks where you could be sitting at a desk and then you can hit a button and then it comes up?
I've got, I don't know, you can't really see. It's my laptop, sorry, but I've got a version of that here, but it's good for, like, I'm doing that right now. So I'm standing right now, or somewhat kneeling. But again, on my calls, I need a big space right now for all my notes. As I get more comfortable and it goes in here instead, then I'll be able to do something like that. But for now, I've got the notes everywhere.
It's amazing, just these conversations. Again, I'm going in depth with you in areas with that like with other people within our, I haven't jumped into, just because I for them, I don't know if they would get that much value out of it. So let me keep going here.
Okay.
Let's talk about Xander, and more importantly, why Connor. Xander's got purpose, and obviously so do you. And we're going to get to your why in a second. The great thing in the position that you're in right now is that, Xander is inspiring, and remember, so are you. You are in a position of being able to inspire people to take action. Mm-hmm. And they're going to thank you for it. And of course, I'm sure you're congratulating them when they make the decision. It's like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Like I blow people away when I say, yeah, you know what? Congratulations for making this decision. I'll ring them through and I'll say, yeah, that was, $7,500. And they'll say, and I'll say again, congratulations, here's your card. And they'll go, thank you. And
exactly. Yep. 3 times today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank yous. Yeah.
Just did, right? So friendly, great rapport. We're Canucks. People love us. We're Canadian.
So, Joe, sorry, I'll stop cutting you off, but real quick,
this is interactive, man. We're friends here. Let's go.
The Brandy, same girl, 15 objections. Yep. One of them, like, just literally anything you can think of. She's like, well, wait, like, okay, I think I'm ready to do this, but like, is this a scam? Like, and she's giving me her credit card. I'm like, Brandy, the stereotypes about Canadians, they are true. We are overly friendly. We're very trustworthy. Like, don't worry, Brandy, we've got you here. Let's do this. And she's like, okay. Like, every objection you could think of. the Canadian.
I'm consistently looking to improve my sales game. I heard you say just now, because of 2 ears, 1 mouth, I heard you say, we've got you. Mm-hmm. Not I've got you. Mm-hmm. And we've got you puts you in that position of Xander and the team, mm-hmm. right? And I would to build an empire does not happen solo. And the army of one is a marketing phrase. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. It's like, Connor, think of it. Have you ever heard of the book, The 4-Hour Work Week? Mm-hmm. It's great concept.
Yeah.
But pardon my French, who the fuck works for just 4 hours a week?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's a pipe dream. It's the pipe dream of pipe dreams. If you have a powerful why, there's no way that 4 hours a week is going to drive you. You won't, right? So what Tim Ferriss was able to do with the 4-Hour Work Week was market himself as this concept of, hey, I know you hate working. You want to have your drink in the hand, toes in the sand, and you just want to be able to make a ton of money doing nothing. Well, that's not how life works. And if you want to have a purpose-filled life, you got to have this powerful why. Because then suddenly it's not about what time it is, and it's not even about how much money. It's about giving back, and understanding that the universe is just going to make sure that you're taken care of. Now, that doesn't mean that the concept of win-win doesn't come to mind. I mean, win-win is a critical component. You need to get paid what you're worth, and if you're bringing the energy and the value and the integrity to the game, Connor, like, good for you, man. You should get paid very well. And I'm not a believer in, I mean, if you were to bring people to the table, whether it's for Xander or in the future if it's for me, like I can't comprehend why I would ever put a glass ceiling for someone. Like I've been my own boss before, and I've worked for people before, and then now back to my own boss again. And what's interesting is that as an entrepreneur, I never understood as an employee why people would cut my commission in half. Mm-hmm. And the only excuse they could give me was, you just shouldn't be making that kind of money. And that it doesn't compute to me. Mm-hmm. It's folly is what it is. So, right, you've got why, because people are moved by it. He's got celebrity status. He's connected, but now so are you. You're connected through purpose. Remember, you're the expert. You're ready to ask the hard questions. You are the trusted advisor. And why you is because you're there to help build value for Xander. That's your job. And so that these people that are calling you, like Brandy today, she called you to buy. You're the second call, man. She's calling you not because she needs to figure stuff out. She's calling you to, hey, the decision is essentially made, and you're just going to walk her across the finish line and congratulate her for now. Guess what? I know that you just broke the tape, but now the race is about to begin. Yeah. Like, this is the fun part. You are a brand. You're the brand within the brand. You're the person, again, who's walking those people, they're prospects, and you're transitioning them from prospect to customer. That's deep relationship stuff. And you're doing a great job of it. And I'm proud of you, man. It's awesome. Thanks. So we talk a little bit about, well, up top, right up here is people don't buy what you sell. They don't buy how. They buy why you sell it. And we're jumping into the why in a quick second. We defined your customer a little bit, right? They're mostly coaches online, 70% women, 30% men. They're health coaches, stress relief coaches, weight loss coaches, busy moms, mindset coaches. Power word here was safe. Mm-hmm. They want to feel safe. I mean, you tell me now, Brandy says, hey, is this a scam? Right? Yeah. You could say, Brandy, listen, I'm going to assure you that we're going to exceed your expectations and you're safe here. That just, it's going to, the power of words. It's funny. I showed you that book last week, Words That Sell. Mm-hmm. And I had a dojo with a copywriter in it. And I said, hey, do you happen to know this book? And he was like, he did one of these, went right up to the camera. I don't know that one. It's like, again, it's just something that you can use at your leisure where you're like, boom, oh, I could add that one. Because these adjectives will soothe the soul. So you've got a lot of fitness, leadership, and career coaches. They're university grad. They're on average 33 years old, and they're about making 50 grand a year. They're educated and they're certified. They're entrepreneurs, but they're also dreamers, which is great. They're hesitant. They're afraid. And that's huge, right? Like a lot of them have the side hustle. They're not afraid of doing work, and they're determined, but they are afraid. And they've done programs that didn't work. They don't want to lose the money, and they feel, right? They feel that it's risky. Mm-hmm. And so you're here to assure them so that they can make that purchase. You're there to build value. You're the expert. You're asking hard questions. You're the trusted advisor. So what's your why? Well, this is the fun for me. You get up at 4:57 every day. You're there before 5. You believe in it. You want to make an impact. It's been this whole space of personal and human development has been life-changing for you, and you see so much potential, and it's exciting. And there's an opportunity for high income, which is great. There is nothing wrong with making a pile of money, because nothing happens until a sale is made. And when you make a sale, that's when you can not only pay your rent, buy gifts for your significant other, go out for nice meals and have experiences together, but you can do philanthropy, you can donate It gives you, money gives you a certain level of freedom. It gives you the opportunity to pay courses, right? Have that education jar and keep expanding. So you're learning new skills. For you, it's now a dream job, right? You're working less with the potential of making so much more. Education, it feels good to help. Opportunity to make money in less time. You're helping people overcome fear. This is a big one. Maggie, the future of your family, the love of your family. You have these 3 to 5 year goals, which I think is absolutely, critical, because that's what's going to help you keep getting up at 4:57.
Yeah, and honestly, in the transition period here, and that's what everyone said, it's an adjustment. But when I didn't have, because that was the drive was get out of the day job, so I got to get up and put in my couple hours of work before going to work at 8:05 and get all my things done. So I had step at this 15-minute interval, this 15. So then when I had this bit more freedom, I got out of sync for a bit, but it was great. I snapped back into it on Wednesday, Thursday, back up same time. So it's just that adjustment, but keeping, I'm not, like you say too, I'm not peaking now. This is great, but I don't want to lose that consistency and that momentum. And I got to keep working on that morning and using that time.
I'm with you. Like for me, like right now I'm working on my September calendar, because yes, I have, and this is what I love about the dojo, is that I have weekly commitments in so many days that I have to do. Mm-hmm. However, I still have some open time, and like I'm a lazy mofo. I am. I will procrastinate, or I will, like, I have goals, and if I don't have a busy calendar, it is the devil for me.
That's me
so
too.
I have to set up my calendar, because I love being busy. I want to be completely, I want to be inundated, truth be told, because if I'm not, then I'm like spending time doing absolutely useless things that Craig talks about. Too much email, too much social media, too much YouTube, too much Netflix, whatever. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man. I mean, so I'm filling up my September, October as we speak, because August is full, but dude, now I've got several, I'm good for 3 weeks in September already, but and I've got enough money to, September, I've made enough money for September already. Mm-hmm. I need to make enough money for the year. Yeah. I gotta go, I want to build a dock. Well, it's not going to happen just by, making enough to get the groceries. I want to be able to hammer, man.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, I'm the same way, Joe. That's what it was. I had that bit of time freedom, and it's like, oh, I don't really have anything to do right now. But then that stresses me out, because I'm like, I should be doing things. What can I be doing? Oh, I don't know what to do. It's finding those new productive things to do now. Where
who's your accountability partner right now? Who are you accountable to? I know you're accountable to me to a certain extent, but you've got Cahal, you've got Xander.
Craig's weekly email. So Craig's weekly email, sorry, and then Ron has his check-ins in the Facebook group where we put our top 3 things for the week, and I make sure I'm getting those done too.
Good, mm-hmm. Good, excellent. So this leads me to the next portion of the show, and it's target. What is the target for your sales growth? And I know you've only been with Xander for a week, so you can go by percentages. You had 4 calls today?
I had 3 calls. One was a follow-up launch call. So 3 new calls.
3 new calls. And did you close 3 of 3?
2. The third one is funny. It's all the roller coaster, right? A couple good highs. The third one, I could tell right away, the energy, you can feel it. So, hey, did you get a chance to watch the video? Oh, I don't know. I watch a lot of stuff. I think yours got lost in there. Oh, okay, well, we can reschedule when you've had time. It's important you watch that. Yeah. But I would have definitely pushed her to reschedule, but she'd already rescheduled with Cahal from the day before because she hadn't watched the video. So right. She's already not putting in the effort. And then we get into it, Joe. First few minutes, you can tell she's not a great fit. And then 15 minutes in, she's like, oh, let me hold on a second. I got to take this call. She throws me on hold, left me on hold for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, call drops. So like it wasn't meant to be, but that was the third call. Like some of those still squeak through the cracks.
For sure, for sure. I'll give you an example. And it's interesting that you mentioned this because I had, we've got a target right now to put 20 new lead cycles clients into the pipeline. And we're doing it, we want to do it at a very low cost per lead. So I just got a new lead cycles client started on board. I do an onboarding call because we're at a point right now where I don't have anybody that's got the verbiage like I do. Chris and Shauna they have their level. Everybody's got their wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is training people. So I call a guy. We have an 11 o'clock Zoom call set up. But remember, I've got a target to hit, right? I've got daily targets with my busy calendar, but I've also got a target within whether it's joemarcoux.com, SOS, or lead cycles. It's, those are my three main sources of income. And again, I've got 3 different revenue streams, which is great. And I've got other smaller revenue streams that keep coming in as well. But those are my 3 biggest ones. And the point is that I get on the 11 o'clock Zoom call and it's 11:05 and my client's not there. So I call him up on his office line and I'm like, Tom, I'm on Zoom. Where are you? Oh, I'm not able to get in. I'm like, okay, hang on. Like, I mean, that's to me, red flag, but whatever. I sent him the invite from here and he's like, it's not working. It's not working. I'm like, finally, I go, Tom, is there another laptop that you can use there or a computer that you can use there? He goes, can we reschedule it for later in the day? And I literally said, and I said it like this. I was like, Tom, no, I am absolutely jammed. And I am. I'm jammed for the rest of the day. I can't help you. I mean, we'd have to do this next week. And he says, well, this system isn't working for us. I said, it's not working because you're not using it. It's like trying to bring the horse to water. Yeah. I said, Tom, get yourself another computer. I've got another 45 minutes to go that I have put aside just for you to do this. And I'll record the call, man. Anyways, he got on another computer. He got on. And, I mean, the energy that I had to bring to the table, but you see it on the video. It's so great. This guy was in his chair like this to start. And at the end, he was like ready to just fire it up. He had a staff member behind him and the staff member's doing this. And I'm like, guys ready? Okay. And then I left it at that, right? Awesome. So, but that's just it. I have a target in mind because I know that once we reach X amount of lead cycles business, I mean, I'm sharing with you a lot. When we reach a certain level of lead cycles business, the life for Chris, Shauna, and I completely changes. Mm-hmm. And when I say completely changes, I'm telling you that we could, which I never will, we could have that 4-hour work week lifestyle, but we're all driven people. Like you've met Chris, he's in the dojo. I mean, Chris has got a family. Mm-hmm. Right? He's got, a daughter who's 12, a son who's 13, and a son who's 10. I mean, you want to talk about reasons why. You have to have a target. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing about your target is what's your deadline? Right? It's part of your own accountability. So you've got the target, you've got the deadline. So the question I have first is, what is your target? I guess right now we're going to talk about your target for Xander.
Yeah, so I think this is where it's great to have someone like you pushing me, because when I first started all this and got into the side phone sales, I was like, oh, I'd love to make an extra 25K to get to 6 figures this year. Like that would have been awesome. And then, that happened very quickly. And now I have left there was a nice period there where I was working my day job and the phone stuff. So like doubling up, right? And I knew it would be a transition back down, but then with the exponential growth potential.
Sure.
So yeah, I had a great call with Xander. Actually, he supports all this too. But I said 3-year goal number I had written down was 250K within 3 years. And then he's like, yeah, man, we're gonna help you get there. Pardon me?
US?
My idea was always Canadian, so
Okay,
like I
go.
never 250 Canadian was the number in 3 years.
And I'm telling you, make it 250 US.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. The sound was cutting out there for some reason. But yeah.
No, like US dollars is at least 30% better. There's no reason why you're working for a guy like all of Xander's payments are in US dollars.
Yeah.
250 US.
Yep, let's do it. So yeah, stretching those is a challenge for me because this is all new to me. But right now, I'd love to start hitting 10K a month. Like that would be by the end of this year would be great, and then next year, like for sure, have a.
What did Xander tell you that he would do to help you to get there?
Like just as far as supporting anything I needed, any extra training and everything, like they're excited about the trajectory of the company. To me, it's also brand new of, reaching into those kind of numbers, but it's exciting.
He's, like Xander's got himself a fantastic group of people on his team, right? And so that's what's going to help him progress to that whole next level. And I mean, we've got 4 people on our team here. I could definitely see us literally doubling in less than a year. I mean, because I'm going to need to. We've all got 168. That's 168 hours a week. I don't care who you are, whether you're Jeff Bezos, Connor Eagleson, Craig Ballantyne, Xander Fryer, Joe Marcoux. We've all got 168. The question then is, what the fuck are you doing with these 168? This defines you, what you do with them. This, I can tell you right now, in your position as a commissioned salesperson, don't be surprised put it up there. If you say 3 years, I can tell you that there's no reason why you can't cut that in half and say in 18 months, you'll be doing that yearly.
I love it.
And honestly, belief is the key. Like if 10,000 a month is peanuts, it's peanuts.
Really,
Listen,
yeah.
So then the question then, how do you reverse engineer this, right? Let's just play the mathematics game. So you go 250 divided by 12, that's 20.8. Okay, so let's just reverse engineer it. So now you were just saying I wanted 10K a month. I'm telling you it's 10K US. So it's really 20.8 US a month. Like that's not a lot. It's not a lot. Then the question then becomes per week. Like it's basically 5K a week. Like I don't know what your commission is, but I'll put it this way: after the first dojo thing comes along, I want you to crush this number. Like I know you could crush this number. When we get the dojo, when you get into the dojo, I'm going to make sure that you get a healthy commission plus in perpetuity commission. For as long as people stay in the dojo and they continue to pay their monthly dues, you will get a monthly due based on that. Because doesn't it make sense? So suddenly you're getting a recurring revenue. Connor, you're there, bro. This will happen.
Yeah, and when you break it down, really, even with Xander alone, it's 250. So if his program, like I wasn't lying when I was saying that they're talking about a price increase. So if it stays at 600, that's 415 people a year. So divided by 52, like it's 8 people a week. So you're doing a 5-day week. Like I just had 3 sales today. Like obviously that's not every day, but as the leads increase, if you get 2 sales a day, you're there.
Absolutely. Then the next question is, and how do you, the question you have to ask yourself is not how do I get to 250? That's not the right question. It's what do I need to do? Not how do I get to 250? What do I need to do to get to 250? Because the how is like, how do I get to 250? if you say, what do I need to do to get to 250, the answers will come. How almost is like, there's nothing wrong with asking the how question, but the what do I need to do, it requires you, like the action step needs to be after that question. What do I need to do to hit 5,000? Let's just call it we'll round it down for the. I'd rather not, but we'll just say $5,000 a week. What do I need to do to hit $5,000 a week? If you're telling me that you're currently is it 600 US that you're making?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 8 calls. Well, that's like 1.5 calls, 1.5 closes a day. If for I'll round it up, you'll cross the number. 1.5. I mean, so if you got minimum of 10 calls a week, there's no reason why you can't do this. There's literally none. Then the question then becomes, what can I do and or what can I suggest to Xander and to his clients, or is there something that you can do to be able to reach out to existing clients and ask for referrals? Like if you've got free time on your hand, right, and you get paid, and I'm not sure, again, I'm spitballing with you. If you get paid to follow up, never mind that you're going to get incoming calls, but what about the people that are already in his program that you could reach out to and just simply say, hey, it's Connor over at High Impact Coaching calling. I'm curious, just as I'm calling on behalf of Xander and the team, how are things going? And we could create a template that allows you to help get more referrals, which feeds the pipeline. Because your bottleneck right now is the pipeline. You'll get this because you're gaining the skill set. The only thing that's stopping you right now, Connor, is the pipeline of leads to come in, because your closing ratio already, like today's closing ratio is 66%, right? That's an awesome closing ratio. So if you're closing 66% out of 8 calls a week,
I don't know if that's sustainable. It's 40% is about calls average. I don't know if that factors in the no-shows or not, but
okay. Let me ask you this: do you believe that 66% is an attainable closing ratio?
I guess as they grow and the testimonials get stronger, and Xander's their progression plan now is Xander grows the brand, right? A lot of people still don't even know who he is in the space. As he grows,
yes or no? Is 66 for you, for Connor Eagleson, is 66% closing ratio a possibility?
I'll say closer to 50.
Come on, man. I can tell you right now, based on your skill set and how you've improved, I'm not saying that you're there today. I'm saying that you will be there, like you'll be there based on reps. You will be there based on the repetition that you're putting in. 66% closing ratio is, I'm telling you that's your target.
Okay.
I'm telling you that's your target. And some people might say, oh, that's impossible. And I'm going to cry bullshit.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
I love it. Push me.
Yeah, no, I know you're capable. 60% closing ratio is very possible. There's a great video by Bob Proctor where he went and he visited insurance agents. This would have been back in the 80s. And he told them, like there they were. It was like September. He was at an annual event. And he said, there's no reason why anybody in this room couldn't close. And I think the number was like 2 million in insurance sales. And people scoffed at him. And then people came up to him afterwards and they said, have you ever done insurance sales before? And Bob Proctor said, no. And they said, see, well, you don't know what you're talking about. And Proctor said, whoa. Because I might not know anything about the insurance business, but I know enough about manifesting and making sales. And I can tell you that 2 million is more than possible. It's just a question of probability. It is inevitable. And the guy said, well, maybe if you have the perfect year. And Proctor says to him, when is your year up? And the guy says, well, December. He goes, where are you at now? The guy said, I'm just shy of 1 million. He goes, you can hit 2 million before the end of December. And the guy was incredulous. And with a little bit of work, that guy, the following year, won the top sales per he crushed everybody's number. He was the first guy to ever do 2 million in insurance sales. And it was all about belief. All about belief. And of course now it's what's the practical things that you can do to put the systems in place, because you're a study, Connor. You're already doing it. Having a target is key. And if you don't have a target that scares the shit out of you, your target's not big enough. So I saw it in your face. 50% is good. 66%. I'm telling you it's 90, but this is honestly doable. Honestly.
Maggie and I we did a combined, like a few months ago when COVID first started, and we, like, I didn't even have any of these plans in place, but we had said $1 million combined within 5 years. So that's the bigger number as well.
Yearly income?
Combined, yeah, $1 million combined within 5.
I'm putting closing ratio right here.
Okay.
Listen, I mean, all you need now, so again, what do you need to do to be able to get more leads? What can you do specifically to help get more leads into the pipeline?
So
I mean, I know Xander's put video and marketing and everything else, but what can you do to affect it? And the first thing that comes to mind is database, the existing database that you can actually call up when you've got a little bit of free time and say, listen, it's a 5-minute follow-up call. I just want to check in, ask Xander and Cahal if it's okay. And when you do that and you get referrals, you're the authority, you're the expert, you're bringing value to the table.
Yeah, there's that. And then that's, as I have downtime, I'm going to start doing my own kind of like sales coach Instagram page and post some of their content and then post some of my own content as well, as far as generating leads there, and get a VA on that.
Yeah. Right on. And again, my goals as well here is I don't want there to be any conflict of interest between, the SOS Dojo and Xander Fryer. I mean, obviously, what's in it for me is I want to be able to help you, and I want to be able to help grow my business. So, however you feel in terms of what's the integrity piece that's going to be comfortable, and that you're not taking anything away from Xander, because I'm going to tell you that I'd love to be helping you get a part of this, right? I mean, because if I'm helping you get there, it's going to help you get to the $1 million mark. $1 million sounds like a lot of money, and it's not.
I know, you're right. It's all belief. It really is. So stretching that mindset and those beliefs.
Like I just thought about when Tony Robbins did a live Unleash the Power Within, the UPW. He just recently did it. He had 22,000 people on streams. He was standing, he did a virtual UPW. And I think the number was 22,000 people. And my understanding is that program is $10,000. That's $220 million over 3 days. That, like the bigger numbers like that, that was a first, right? He used to be able to have 15,000 people in an event. Now because of COVID, he was creative enough to come up with a way to be able to do more, for more, and make more. So it's win-win, right? Powerful, absolutely powerful. So, when you welcome someone on the phone, what is your energy like? Like, are you just saying hello? Do you do a little bit of idle chit chat? What's your welcome or your engagement like?
It's so, hey Joe, and then hey Connor, hey it's Connor calling from Xander Fryer and High Impact Coaching. How are you doing today?
Excellent.
I'm doing well, thanks. Okay, awesome. Hey, I'm just looking at your area code here, Joe. Like, whereabouts are you located? Oh, I'm located in San Diego. Oh, San Diego, like that's amazing. Super jealous. We have a lot of coaches in San Diego. Great place to live. That's awesome. And then whatever they say. And then I don't know if you're picking up an accent at all on me or not, but I'm up in Toronto. Have you ever been up to Canada, Joe? And then a little bit there, and then that's the basic rapport. And then from there, okay, awesome. Like super excited. Thanks for being on time for the call. Let's dive in here. Let's get started. Okay. And then.
So again, for me, I just wanted to make sure that the engagement was high, the rapport was good. I think you're doing everything right. Depending on the context. I know that in certain areas, I don't like asking how is it going, because sometimes it's not going that great.
Yeah.
It leads you down that path. So I just like to instantly go, if it's a planned phone call, then it'd be like, hey, Connor, Joe Marcoux here. I'm calling on behalf of joemarcoux.com. Fantastic. I'm really stoked that we're going to have this call today. So, and just, I'm not asking the potentially closed question. Like, again, I just want to be able to decrease any probability of something negative luring its ugly head, because again, highest energy wins, whether it's positive or negative. So if, let's say they get on the call and they just had a speeding ticket. Like I've seen people in retail make this mistake. People come in the door and they go, hey, how's it going? And like the husband's in the store and he doesn't want to be there. It's like, wow, it's pretty shitty actually. It's like, I tell people, like, acknowledge them in such a way where they have no choice but to feel excited. Like, whether it's like we used to answer the phone at Fitness Depot. It's a great day at Fitness Depot. This is Joe speaking. Like, it's not Fitness Depot. This is Joe, and you hear that shit.
Oh yeah.
So you have to, like, hey, So if you're gonna say how's it going, and I love your energy that you bring to the table, even to the role play. That's great. It's also, again, just my feedback. Hey, welcome here. Really stoked to have you guys here. What's the weather like down there? I noticed you and like you said, I noticed the area code. Where am I reaching you right now? Like, so you're engaging in the conversation, and like even the weather question can sometimes be suspect because it's cloudy out. Shit, right? you like, it's always high energy, positive. That's gonna, and then you can build that rapport. You're already on point. So I'm just gonna move on to the next piece. The metrics that you have, and a lot of people don't measure their metrics in sales. So how are you getting the measurement? Like, are you just counting? You know what your weekly calls are going to be ahead of time, or do they have an Excel spreadsheet? Are you asking certain questions on behalf of Xander? Like, how did you hear about us?
So Cahal has tracking, and
Yeah.
then I'm keeping him up to date weekly as well. And then I've got my own little tracker as well. Hey, I actually just saw he messaged me. Are you able to take a call in 30? So I don't know. I know you have your date night tonight. Is that if we wrap up at 6:30? Does that work?
We can wrap up. Yeah, take the call, man.
Okay.
And the reason you're taking the call is because I want you to hit the target. Yeah, go ahead and take it.
Okay, perfect.
It is supposed to be date night, but actually Shauna's gone to Rushing River, which is it's in Ontario. It's a camping thing. Even though we have a cabin, she's gone. She's got an annual thing that she goes camping, and I'm not going to go. I'm actually, my buddy's 50th birthday is on Saturday. I'm pulling out my guitar and I'm playing a gig for everybody. So I've been practicing a little bit for that. So I used to play in a band when I was even younger than you. I was lead singer in a band. I was lead and rhythm guitar player, and so yeah, you might know the Tragically Hip.
Yeah.
So the Tragically Hip, Sloan, and Big Sugar, my band, we opened for those bands.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were okay. And then, but I had my store and I had to make a decision. It's like, am I going to live in a van by the river eating peanut butter, or can I play music whenever the hell I want and have a lifestyle? And, I had a passion for exercise and fitness. And so I had my fitness equipment store. I quit the band, and I'm still friends with everybody in the band. Two of the guys are still together and they have a recording contract with the New York label, but they've never, made it huge. But so yeah, take that call. Well, I'll skip it now. Do you need to be, are we off the call? Do you need a couple minutes of prep time?
Just like if we can wrap up at 6:25 or so, if that works. Okay.
So we got about 20 minutes to go.
Perfect. Thank you.
So the thing about metrics, I'm just going to send this to you. You can choose to use it or not. I'm going to show you the screen. It's something that I recommend.
Okay.
Something that I recommend for any business. And again, I do this in the bike business, but I did this in the fitness business. I did this for sales coaching. It's called a daily metrics tracker. And like, it just self-tabulates. Again, for you, this may not be an incredibly valuable tool, but I like to ask people, hey, how did you hear about us? To me, my first 3 questions at retail are, and again, you may end up doing some retail sales training in the future, Connor. So
Yep.
Is this your first time in the store? How did you hear about it? First three questions. Hey, Maggie, first time in the store. Yeah, you got the earbuds in. How did you hear about us? And then, have you ever blank before? So in your case, have you ever done coaching before?
Mhm.
Like, that's a great question. So if in this case, here we are on the 13th, and you just mark down, how did you hear about us? The reason that you ask this question is because Xander is spending a ton of money on marketing. And the question is, what's working? Now, yeah, you can have, retargeting and clicks and whatnot, but a phone call or a meeting, especially live, you've got to be able to figure this out. And as an example, like if somebody says, yeah, I saw you online, the last time I checked, the internet's a pretty big freaking place. So you can be specific. Like, how did you hear about us? Oh, well, I saw your website. I did a Google search. Then the question is, what are your search words? Because if you're using AdWords, you want to find out what it is. Was it social media? And then you could add TikTok to that. You'll see here old school. I mean, I don't think we have yellow pages in here anymore. But I'm going to give you the story about the radio. So I'll make a point of sending this to you after the call, and you can use it whether you want to or not. It auto tabulates, and I'll just it's called a DM tracker. A lot of the retail guys I send this to, and it amazes me how many retailers just don't track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
It amazes me how many coaches don't track. Like you'd be shocked. So I'm going to share with you a true story. And if I told you this story before, then stop me. Did I tell you about the radio story? You heard this one?
Not sure. I don't think so. So
I'm in my store. I have two women come into the store and they're looking to buy a treadmill. Mm-hmm. Again, this is 25, 26 years ago now. Like, dude, you were in diapers. So this couple comes in, Diane, and I forget her partner's name. It doesn't matter. I remember Diane very well. And what ends up happening is Diane and I are chatting, and the mistake I used to make was, back then when I was younger, was I used to only ask people how they heard about the store when I was writing them up after I'd taken their money, and I'd shoot the shit with them. Okay. But then I came to realize, because of this particular story, how important it is to ask the marketing question. How did you hear about us? And it opens it up. So Diane and I are chit-chatting, and I said, and again, it just blurted out. It wasn't even part of my template at the time. So I said, how did you hear about us? She said, oh, I heard your ad on the radio. I said, oh, what station? 92 City FM. What time of day was that? She said, oh, it was on the drive home. I said, you're sure? She said, yeah, okay. So we keep talking, and I sell her on the idea of this Cybex treadmill, and then bring her over to a body lift home gym. She buys that as well, write it up. She's on her way out the door. I look over at my partner, and my partner was younger than I was. His name was Derek. And I said, Derek, are we even advertising on the radio? And he said, nope. Huge lesson. Yeah. One of my competitors was advertising on the radio, and it just so happened that Diane was driving home, and she heard the ad but saw my store. This was on a Saturday when I found this out, I immediately said to everybody on our team, everybody has to ask, how did you hear about us, to absolutely everybody. And we figured out, just a rudimentary way to just write shit down, just to figure out, hey, where's our marketing dollar working and what's not? We're talking tracking. This is 25 years ago. Like, this is pre-social media by a long shot. So there's no Facebook pixels or any tracking methods, no Google back then. Yeah. So fast forward to today, and the benefit of asking that is you build rapport, but you also get data. And the data for the team that you're on is critical. So asking the question, hey, I'm just curious, how did you hear about us? If you find out it's a referral, what my world is, the second I get a referral, I send somebody a thank you, right?
And yeah, and they like, Xander's team has a great job of tracking all that. Like, I know when I'm speaking to someone where the lead has come in from, and they've got all that measured as well. But yeah, as far as me, like, I've got my little side notes in an Excel sheet of, I spoke to Heidi Pierce and she wasn't ready right now, but follow up in 1 month. And I've got just my own notes for calls and checking up with people as I get those follow-ups. Like the more calls I have now, the more people I'll check back in with.
With follow-up systems, what are you using for client retention management or CRM?
They use a system called Pipedrive. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, it's good. Very good. Excellent. Right on. So beyond that, you want to be able to get the metrics. I tell people, stick with the basics, even at retail.
Mm-hmm.
Like, count how many people you're dealing with, cross-reference with the daily metrics, and then cross-reference with your daily sales. It can't get any easier than that. Stick to the basics as a salesperson, and then, of course, the marketing team. This is where I leave it to Chris, for example. Hey, man, put it out there. How much money are we going to put into Facebook ads, or how much money are we going to put into email marketing? And right now, I'm still working on the organic side. So you probably saw, for example, Courtney sent me a referral who signed up. She got a $50 US Amex gift card just as a thank you, right? And then I ended up getting a kick-ass testimonial for it, which cha-ching, I'm putting that right.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then she got the card, which, of course, I'm a big believer in people will forget what you said and people will forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Mm-hmm. So I send something in old school snail mail, they receive it, and they go, oh my God. And I want to be able to set myself apart because I'm a brand. Mm-hmm. Branding is not just a question of, having the McDonald's. It's the brand on right here on your heart, man. It's the energy. It's that emotional connection that we have in deep relationship. And so what can you do to help separate yourself? Because in sales, let's say you're in auto sales. Mm-hmm. Well, the goal is I sell you a car today. But in 3 to 5 years, whether your lease is up or you're ready for the new one, it's no question you're going to come back to me. You could be loyal to a certain brand. You could be like, hey, I always buy BMWs. They're still within, how many BMW dealerships are there within your neck of the woods? There's a lot.
Yeah, half a dozen.
So within half a dozen, how many salespeople are within each location? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd say at least 10 per. That means there's 60 salespeople, and the way that you separate yourself is you be the brand. Mm-hmm. Customer appreciation will always win. Appreciation will always win over self-promotion. Always. Mm-hmm. Like the Courtney thing that just happened 2 days ago is an example of how I've literally run my career. I can spend less money on marketing. I call it marketing. It's relationship marketing. And relationship marketing as a salesperson is the secret tool that 99% of salespeople, they forget. They make a sale, they move on to the next one. The goal is build the relationship, because I would much rather have somebody with me long-term, and I want them to be raving fans. Great book by Sheldon Knowles, Raving Fans. He had a small little gas station chain in Manitoba called Domo Gas Station, and he took on all the majors, and he was the biggest player until his passing. Everybody went to Domo because they jumped to the pump for you. That was his thing. Mm-hmm. So anyways, I'm just sharing that because, I learned from him. And I actually, when I wrote my first book, I sent him a copy of it, and he gave me some valuable feedback. You're in a different position because of where you are. You don't have to worry about too much follow-up, do you? Like, you're already the second call.
Yeah, basically it's just the one I had today was a launch from July 18th to deposit. So for sure the people I take deposit, and then the others, if they can't make a decision or if they don't have the money or whatever it is, like I have shot them a message a couple weeks later, but honestly, once they kind of don't buy at the time, I haven't heard back from any of them yet. But Cahal is always stirring those back up, and I'm sure as I move on, I'll keep going back to some of those.
The reason that I'm putting up follow-up early is your fortunes in your follow-up. Mm-hmm. In sales in general, people will make the buying decision on the 5th to 12th touch. That's the statistic. Mm. It's the 5th to 12th touch. 48% of salespeople will only follow up once. 48.
Mhm.
That whole fortunes in the follow-up is critical. These are just numbers and these are true statistics. So 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th touch. And no different that you're going to hear no at least 5 times before you get to a yes.
Mhm.
So the follow-up is the same critical component. There's 2 things that you can do in sales to improve. Number 1, you can improve your sales skill. Or number 2, you can improve your follow-up. And if you do both, then you become relentless. Right?
I like that. I haven't thought of that, but yeah.
I mean, you have 2 choices in sales. It's skill up or follow up. That's it. So I've met some salespeople that suck at sales, but they're relentless at follow up, and they made a lot of money.
Mhm.
There's a guy who doesn't live far from you, and I'll even say his real name because Mike Lee. He's in the fitness equipment business, and Mike knows this. He's had people who will buy just so that, okay, Mike, I'm buying so you can stop calling me now. Yeah. Because he is relentless. There is you know what, I'm going to take a sec because I usually do this, show you this. This is have you seen the movie Boiler Room?
Which, sorry?
Boiler Room?
No.
All right. You want to talk about be relentless? Here it is, man. I'm gonna hang on. I got to get my. This would be a good thing to finish up on, and then we're gonna get back to it.
Okay.
I might have to. We might have to do extra calls, but I'm gonna give you the value, brother. I want to help you. So I'm gonna share my screen. The audio should be on, and yeah, this should be it. I want to make sure the Boiler Room. I'm assuming that this is going to be the right one. Quite the pep talk.
Yeah.
Now, hang on. This is. It wasn't the. This is the one I wanted though.
Okay.
This is the part right here. Okay. There is no such thing as a no sale call. This is what he's going to say. There is no such thing as a no sale call. Either you're selling them some stock or they're selling you on why they're not buying. Either way, done. Now be relentless. That I've used this video clip, that particular one, in live training events, and it is absolutely powerful. We got 1 more minute, so I put this up here. Be relentless. The movie's Boiler Room, and it's got a slew of different salesy things. It's a lot of it is like, oh my god, like if you're in sales, you laugh your head off. Like some of it is like, you know, obviously Ben Affleck's first speech is just way too money driven. There's no why behind it. It's all about getting rich. However, there's some great stuff in the movie, and that part right there, the movie's got to be at least 25 years old. But what I love about it is the truth of it. A sale is made on every call you make, Connor. Either you're closing them or they're closing you on why they're not buying. Either way, a sale is made. So who's going to close, you or them? Be relentless.
Mm-hmm.
Being relentless is part of our job. You're already relentless. I'm giving you permission to be relentless. Because the only way that you're going to get to this, it's not unfathomable. It is a reachable level of income is to be relentless. It is a mindset.
Love it.
Go close this guy. Go close this guy in half an hour or in 5 minutes.
Thanks for being flexible, Joe. I appreciate it.
Man, yeah, we'll just add an extra call or 2 after.
Okay. I appreciate it. Have a great night. Feel better soon.
All right, buddy.
Talk to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.